Hey everyone, in case you're unaware, AMD AM5 motherboards powered by the newly released mid-range B650E and B650 chipsets are now available for purchase on the market. For today's video, we'll be taking a look at a B650E motherboard that is positioned at the higher end of the spectrum, the ASUS ROG STRIX B650E-F Gaming Wi-Fi. Sporting support for the latest Ryzen 7000 series of processors, could this board be the missing piece in a mid-range Ryzen 7000 series gaming PC build? Let's find out. To recap, AMD launched its AM5 platform and the Ryzen 7000 series of processors alongside the range-topping X670E and X670 chipsets on 27 September 2022, and one thing that stood out was the value proposition or lack of it, seeing as X670E and X670 boards were really pricey, making lower-end Zen 4 parts such as the Ryzen 5 7600X questionable in terms of their price-to-performance ratio in a completed build with a X670 series motherboard. The launch of the B650E and B650 therefore strives to create value, hopefully, for potential Ryzen 7000 series consumers in the mid-range. Now, to achieve these lower price points, AMD's pared away some of the features from the X670 family of chipsets so as to create the B650E and B650, as you can see on the screen. Now, the ROG STRIX B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi that we have here today, as its name implies, sports the B650E chipset and sits within the ROG STRIX series of gaming-oriented motherboard offerings at the higher end, placing below the ROG Crosshair series and above the Tough Gaming and Prime series of motherboard offerings by ASUS. In keeping with the design language of the Republic of Gamers series of products, the B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi comes in a box, sporting the usual black and red colorway that has come to be associated with the ROG series of products, with gamer-oriented motifs thrown in for good measure. Moving over to the rear of the box, we get the usual summary of specs for this board. We'll take a closer look at these specs later in the video. On a side note, if you're new to the ALKtech channel, do consider subscribing so as to keep up to date with the latest product releases in the PC hardware world. Opening up the box, we see that the ROG STRIX B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi comes with a Wi-Fi antenna right here. We'll set aside the board for the moment to see what other accessories ASUS has included with the board. First up, we get two SATA 3 cables. And these are accompanied by a M2 Q-latch attachment which is used to secure a M2 drive to the board. We also get two packs of M2 drive rubber pads that add additional height clearance for single-sided M2 drives. And these are accompanied by a spare thermal pad for one of the many M2 drive slots that come with this board, as well as a pack of cable ties. Moving on, we also get a thank you card right here. And this is accompanied by a motherboard manual, an ASUS web storage promotional offer leaflet, a sheet of ROG stickers that look pretty nice, as well as a ROG keychain. Now, it's great to see that ASUS has ditched the DVD driver disc, seeing as optical drives have become quite uncommon in the modern PCs of today. All in all, quite an extensive set of accessories, I must say. With that, onto the board itself. We see that ASUS has gone for a predominantly black aesthetic with light grey motifs and some splashes of pink for contrast. As can be seen, the board comes with an integrated I/O shield design and has large black heatsinks all around. Over on the rear of the board, we get a slew of ROG motifs which are a nice touch, in spite of the fact that most of these motifs would likely never see the light of day in a PC case. The B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi comes with no shortage of ROG marketing motifs on it. I mean, look at the amount of marketing text that can be found on this board. That aside, RGB junkies will be pleased to note that the board comes with built-in RGB LEDs that can be found on the integrated I/O shield, like so. The VRM heatsinks for this board are pretty decently sized, and ASUS has included 12+2 power stages rated for up to 80 amps each. Unlike the X670E, the B650E has a single chipset design, and the said chipset sits beneath this large passive heatsink right here. For M2 drive cooling, ASUS has got you covered with M2 drive heatsinks for all 3 M2 drive slots that this board comes with. For memory support, the B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi comes with 4 DDR5 slots with support for up to 128GB of RAM and the DDR5 6400 Plus standard when overclocked, with plastic slots of a single tabbed design that ASUS calls QDIM. Naturally, the board also supports AMD's Expo technology, which are basically built-in overclocking profiles for DDR5 memory. Right next to the RAM slots is a set of QLEDs that can help with troubleshooting PC issues when posting. Further down is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C front panel header, and beneath it a USB 3.2 Gen 1 front panel header which supports up to 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A ports. Whilst you're on the topic of USB connectivity, the bottom edge of the board houses 2 USB 2.0 front panel headers, with each header providing support for 2 USB 2.0 Type-A ports. Some interesting features to highlight. Further to the left, we get a Thunderbolt add-on card header, which is to be used in conjunction with a Thunderbolt add-on card that is sold separately by ASUS. The said card adds Thunderbolt 4 ports as well as DisplayPort connectors to your PC. Moving on, you'll notice a thermal sensor header that allows you to connect an additional sensor to monitor the temperature of devices within your PC. Next to this is a CPU overvoltage jumper that allows you to set higher CPU voltages for overclocking purposes. In terms of expansion slots, this board comes with a PCIe 5.0 X16 slot that sports the ASUS Safe Slot feature that reinforces the slot against heavy graphics cards. The said slot also has a Q release feature that makes removing a graphics card a painless affair. Pressing this button here will undo the latch to allow the graphics card to be removed from the slot. We also do get 2 PCIe 4.0 X1 slots and a full-length PCIe 4.0 X16 slot that operates at X4 mode. In the storage department, ASUS has included 4 SATA 3 ports, with all ports in a right-angled configuration to aid with cable management. For M2 slots, it comes with a single PCIe 5.0 X4 M2 slot and 2 PCIe 4.0 X4 M2 slots. All of these slots support NVMe SSDs only and come with the Q-Latch feature, which facilitates the toolless installation of your M2 SSDs. Do note that this PCIe 4.0 X4 M2 slot M.2_3 shares bandwidth with this PCIe 4.0 X16 slot that operates at X4 mode, where if you have a SSD operating at X4 mode in the M.2_3 slot, the said PCIe 4.0 X16 slot will be disabled. For audio, ASUS has included a higher-end Realtek ALC4080 audio codec with premium audio capacitors as well as a Sevitech SV3H712 amplifier chip. Wired internet connectivity is courtesy of Intel's i225V chip, which provides support for 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, while Wi-Fi support is courtesy of AMD's RZ608 Wi-Fi 6E part, which also serves up Bluetooth 5.2. In the cooling and RGB departments, the board comes with 7 fan headers which are located in these regions of the board. Also included are 3 addressable RGB headers and a 12V standard RGB header located right here. Moving over to the rear I/O, the ROG STRIX B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi goes for an integrated I/O shield design in black that looks pretty nice. The board comes with a DisplayPort 1.4 connector supporting display output of up to 8K resolution at 60Hz, a HDMI 2.1 port that supports display output of up to 4K resolution at 60Hz, 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, a BIOS flashback button that allows you to update the BIOS without a CPU, RAM or graphics card installed. We also get 4 USB 2.0 Type A ports, with this port right here supporting the BIOS flashback feature. We get a 2.5GB Ethernet port, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port, Wi-Fi antennae connectors, a USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 Type-C port, as well as your usual audio jack connectors. With that, the ASUS ROG STRIX B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi seems to be a solid offering of an AMD B650E motherboard that is positioned at a higher end, sporting PCIe 5.0 support for both the graphics card and a M2 drive, 2.5GB Ethernet with built-in Wi-Fi 6E, a plethora of USB 3.2 connectivity options, and helpful features such as Q-Latch. While this board isn't exactly cheap and doesn't really help with the AM5 total cost of ownership value problem, it could provide slightly better value than say a lower-end X670E motherboard, especially for those of you looking to build a higher-end Ryzen 7000 series PC with say a 7700X or a 7900X, where you could then deploy the money saved from getting this board instead to perhaps a better graphics card or more RAM. As of end October 2022, the B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi is available in Singapore for a price of around 510 Singapore dollars through offline and online retailers, while for you international folks, this board can be had for around $300 from e-commerce sites such as Newegg. With that, thank you so much for watching, hit the like button and get subscribed if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys around the next time.